Let's just look here at an article from today's Sydney Morning Herald online. Police investigate frolicking child. Now, this is an article about a man, a grandfather, who went to the beach with his granddaughter, and she had a little romp in the nude. And of course it was inferred that by other people that he might have been a paedophile. But I want to look at that and how we protect children's rights, and how we're supposedly protecting children's rights, but we can let little boys have their penises mutilated. That's all right, apparently. Police investigate frolicking child, published May the 5th, 2013, 3 a.m. It wasn't the original plan for Emma and her grandfather Leo to head to Balmoral Beach, but the 6-year-old water baby had set her heart on it. Water baby there is in inverted commas. We hadn't packed her swimming costume, but she was in one of her determined moods, so I certainly wouldn't have dared say no, said 70-year-old Leo, who was helping Emma's busy parents last Tuesday. When the pair arrived at lunchtime, Emma stripped off her clothes, including her t-shirt, despite Leo's suggestion she keep it on. She then happily splashed in the shallows for about half an hour, while Leo kept a watchful eye a short distance away. So he was keeping an eye on her, making sure she didn't drown. This is an elderly man, keeping an eye on his granddaughter while she has a little swim in the shallow water. She didn't stop beaming from the time she got in to the time she got out, he said. But he was left shaken by what happened next. I helped Emma get dressed, and then the police arrived, he said. They wanted my name, they took my identification, they also talked to Emma and asked her name and date of birth. They informed me a complaint had been lodged. New South Wales, we'll come back to that in a minute, a complaint had been lodged. New South Wales Police confirmed an anonymous call was received from a member of the public expressing concern about an elderly man sitting with a naked child at the beach. We'll come back to that too, I think. While it took a matter of minutes for the officers to establish that a misunderstanding had occurred, the issue did not end there. In the days since, a bewildered Leo has questioned his own role in the incident. Should I have insisted she keep her top on? He asked, adding, would they still have complained anyway? His questions don't stop there. Would this have happened if I had been a female? Would it have occurred had I been a younger man? I would like to meet the person who made the call. I'd like to ask why they couldn't have at least approached me so we could have avoided all this. But the person most affected has been Emma herself. When she got in the bath that night, she said, I did something wrong, I'm in trouble. Her mother Jessica said, this was a child in her element. Who would have complained about that? If she was in distress, sure, people should maybe call the cops then. She was totally carefree. It's not long before she'll lose that and become more body conscious. Chief Executive of the Australian Childhood Foundation and registered psychologist Joe Tucci said raising community awareness about child abuse had inadvertently triggered widespread anxiety instead of confidence. In the past, adults would turn a blind eye. These days, more people respond, but not necessarily in a helpful way. In this case, the execution is not what I would have recommended. Given it was so public, the person could have at least approached the grandfather for a few words. Yes, it might have ended up being a little embarrassing to both parties, but at least it would have avoided that young girl's involvement and negative experience with police. But Hetty Johnston, we'd have to ask Hetty Johnston, wouldn't we? But Hetty Johnston, founder of child protection advocate Bravehearts, which she founded, of course, disagreed. That member of the public did what we hope everyone now does in such situations. They held concerns, so in the best interest of that child, they called police. It was not a malicious or vindictive move. It turned out to be a false alarm, and that's great. Detective Acting Superintendent Linda Linda Howlett, the acting sex crime squad commander, agreed. "It's better to be safe than sorry," she said. "If a member of the public does see something that causes them concern, we encourage them to contact police, and we will follow that up." But several days on, Jessica still cannot help but feel the situation was overblown. It started several years ago with families not being able to take photos of their own children at swimming pools, and now it seems to have progressed to scenarios like this, she said. "As a society, I believe we have grown too paranoid. I feel so sorry for all the grandfathers who face this sort of scrutiny and persecution simply for spending time with their grandkids." And that was the article. So you've got an elderly man, and the title is "Police Investigate Frolicking Child." So the child was frolicking in the water in the nude. Now, first of all, is it illegal for a child to frolic in the nude? It wouldn't appear so. No one was charged for having a child, 6 years old I think it was, frolic in the nude. Apparently it's not illegal for a child to frolic in the nude at a public beach. So that's the first observation. No one was prosecuted. The parents weren't prosecuted. The grandfather wasn't prosecuted for having a child nude at a public beach. What was called into question was the character of the grandfather, wasn't it? The character of the grandfather was called into question, as they asked, had it been a woman, as he asked the grandfather, had it been a woman, would that have been all right? Would somebody have called the police? They probably wouldn't have. Yeah, so you've got a prevailing sexism and misandry operating there, haven't you? Misandry is a type of sexism. You've got Hetty Johnston, founder of Child Protection, yes. Have I ever heard Hetty Johnston speak up against genital mutilation of boys? I don't think I've heard her speak out against the genital mutilation of boys. And to me, I was genitally mutilated as a tiny baby. I consider that to be a violent and barbaric sexual assault. It took away 75% of the most sensitive nervous tissue on my penis. It was done without anesthetic. That was a sexual assault. It's still done in New South Wales. And I've been left with skin bridging. It was a violent and barbaric sexual assault. You won't hear Hetty Johnston of Bravehearts defending the genital integrity of a little boy, will you? And of course, the sex crime squad was brought out, wasn't it? With Detective Acting Superintendent Linda Howlett. Now, if Linda Howlett hears that one little girl's clitoris has had a pinprick and a drop of blood was drawn, Linda Howlett, the acting sex crime squad commander, will, if she hears allegations like that, she will take steps to investigate them, and if you're found guilty, you'll be sent to jail. Of course, the sex crime squad comes under the command, under the portfolio of Pru Goward, what's her name? What's her title? The New South Wales Child Protection Minister. Now, Pru Goward was a former sex discrimination commissioner, wasn't she? And did Pru Goward, as sex discrimination commissioner, ever speak up one word in defense of the genital integrity of little boys, stopping little boys from having their genitals being mangled in a violent and barbaric sexual assault? I don't think she did. She didn't ever. And I don't think she's going to start now as Child Protection Minister. I don't think she is. So you've got a whole double standard operating here. You've got men in a situation with a young girl, a man and his granddaughter, bathing in the nude. If that had been a young boy bathing in the nude and a woman, a grandmother with that young boy frolicking, would her character have been called into question? It's highly unlikely. So a man and a girl is a young girl is a situation that arouses suspicion, apparently. If it had been an elderly woman, could she not have been a child molester too, possibly? A potential child molester? It's pathetic, really. you've got this double standard obtaining in society, and you've got people in charge like Pru Goward that have this double standard. We protect the genital integrity of little girls from the sexual assault known as the paraphilia, known as female genital mutilation. Female genital mutilation is a paraphilia, and it is against the law. But we get people like Pru Goward who will do nothing to, well, she's basically participating in the paraphilia of male genital mutilation by not saying anything. The society condones the paraphilia of male genital mutilation. Pru Goward wouldn't say anything. The acting sex crime squad commander, Linda Howlett, won't take any action. If you hear that a boy is going to be genitally mutilated, she won't do anything. She won't. So you've got a double standard obtaining, and it's pretty pathetic, really. It's pathetic. And it's legal apparently for a child to be nude at the beach, but we pick on some old man because he's a suspected paedophile. Of course, women aren't ever paedophiles, are they? The fact is, there is paedophilic activity by women. And furthermore, you'll find that when, overall, you'll find that when women are prosecuted for if they're prosecuted, which is less likely anyway, but if they are prosecuted, you'll find that they're treated softer by the courts. I've read a couple of cases in recent years. In New Zealand, there was one where the woman was merely deported. There was one in England where the woman was deported. Women are often just deported, for example, rather than prosecuted. No man would be deported for those sort of underage sexual activities. But anyway, I don't want to go on about paedophilia specifically. I just wanted to observe that there's a double standard obtaining here, and that the government itself participates in basically it won't allow the paraphilia of female genital mutilation. Little girls' sexual genital integrity is protected, but society, including the sex crime squad commander and Pru Goward, they basically participate by not doing anything to defend a little boy's genital integrity. And furthermore, there's a legion of women who have participated in helping. Some of them could have been doctors, of course, but even presuming that doctors who carry out circumcisions on little boys are male, you've got a legion of women, of nurses and mothers, who participated in the paraphilia of male circumcision and having their boys subject to genital mutilation. I haven't heard that Hetty Johnston has ever spoken out against male genital mutilation, and she's probably not likely to. The whole thing's pathetic, actually. Pathetic.